Okay, hi everyone. So today we're going to look at making a walk cycle. I'm going to start you off with a really simple walk cycle. It's a great exercise to get you going as an animator or a motion graphics artist, because at some point you're going to deal with a human figure, and animating a human is a great thing to try. It's difficult, but the skills you need in order to do it well will be applicable to anything else that you apply animation to. And it also throws you a little bit in the deep end of animation, but that will really improve your skills for doing other types of motion graphics. So let's do it. I've just found this reference on the internet. You can just Google search, image search, walk cycle reference. And there's many out there. There's some really famous books that are really helpful for animators. It's good to remember that most professional animators use reference. I can't stress that enough, that reference is really important. Don't try and do it out of your head, especially as a beginner. You'll just learn a lot more slowly. You'll get there, but it will take you a lot longer. So you want to, take advantage of all the reference out there. So I'm using this one here. This reference here is looking at 5 poses. You'll notice pose 1 and pose 5 are exactly the same. So I'm just going to create a loop. So it's really 4 poses, but I'm going to loop back to this one. And it's about 2 seconds long. The first pose we're going to create at 0 frames, second one at 12 frames, third pose at 1 second, fourth pose at 1 second and 12 frames, and the last pose will just be a repeat of all the keyframes we put on there, so it'll loop back. You'll notice pose 3 here in the middle is exactly the opposite of pose 1 and 5. Pose 2 and 4 are exactly the same, but the opposite. The back leg, which is coloured in, is behind. Now the back leg, which is coloured in here, is behind. So it's just the opposite of each other. So in a way you could say there's only 2 poses that we have to do, but then we repeat them here with the arms and legs the opposite. So it's quite a simple way of breaking down an animation cycle. You'll also notice that the head goes up on these passing points and comes down on the contact points, up on the passing frames and down on the contact points. This is a very simple walk cycle. There are many more complex ways to look at it, but we're going to start with this simple one. Okay, let's get into it. So I've done something in Photoshop. Right here, you can create your own, or I'll upload this for you to use. I've got here in my layers palette, you can see I've got a head here. I made a bit of a hair thing. I've got 2 eye layers. I might put a bit of a blink, so I've got an eye open there, and I've got an eye closed. I might work on a little blink. A body layer, arms, and I've just a very, very simple stick figure just for the purposes of this animation exercise. So they're all named. Leg, I've just used the system. Arm 1 means the one in front. Arm 2 is the one behind. It's the slightly darker coloured one. Same with the legs. Leg 1 is the one in front. Leg 2 is the one behind. Slightly darker. Sort of following this reference here, putting darker colour for the behind limbs. Okay, so let's import this into After Effects. Before I do that, let's just quickly look at my project. On my desktop here, I've got in my walk cycle exercise, I've got a After Effects project folder, I've got a Photoshop folder with this file in it, and I've also got a reference folder. So I'm going to go to After Effects and import the reference, import the Photoshop file, walkover_1. Of course, as a composition retain layer sizes, I want to keep those layers, right? So import that. Okay. I'm going to double click on that thing I've just imported. There it is. It's got a black background at the moment. I'm on half res down here. I can change that res to full so I can see it nice and clearly. And I might just change the background color. Let's look at the comp settings. Command K, remember. Comp settings, we've got 1000 by 1000 pixels. That's the same as my Photoshop file here. There's this one. That'll do, I think. That's good for now. We've got a 23.9. I hate that frame rate. I'm going to change it to 24. Definitely do that. My duration is 6 seconds right now. I'm going to change it to 2 seconds. And 0 frames. So I'm just going to do a little... We might actually make the walk cycle a bit faster once we're done. I'll show you how to speed and slow down a comp. But right now I'm just going to do 2-second comp. Okay, so if I... Yeah, notice my comp, if I drag right to the end, it goes to 123. So it doesn't actually arrive on the 2-second mark, which is good because I don't want it to, and I'll explain why in a minute. Now, before we do anything else, I'm going to put 5 markers on my timeline, which will match these five poses. Let's do that. I'm going to grab right over here that little thing there, comp marker. I'm just drag across. I'm going to put one at the beginning. I'm going to put another one at the 12 frame mark. Make sure it's 12 frames. Yep, it says over there 12 frames. One at 1 second. One at 1 second and 12 frames. And the last one right at the end there, which will be at 123. You'll see, I can drag my keyframes forward to the 2-second point. I'll show you that when we start doing it. So yeah, zooming out on my timeline now, you see I have those markers. Apart from the last one, they should all be on those time codes. 0, 12, 1, 112, and I can just change that now just to be clear, I'll change that to 123. Alright. Okay. Alright, so now let's start animating. While I'm there, I might change the background color to mid-tone gray. And the first thing I want to do is I want to rotate these arms and legs, right? So I want to put those anchor points right here on the top of the leg. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as the first stage of this exercise. Using the pan behind tool. I'm going to solo each layer so you can see it. There you go. I'll just fast forward through this section. Okay, so you should have them all now with their... don't worry about the body, that can stay in the middle, but the arms and legs should have an anchor point right at their rotation point there. The head, I put the rotation point sort of roughly where the neck would be.